everyone, it's Ailin here. Welcome back to another video. So it's been such a long time since I got on the camera and just started recording. I guess you can say that I've fallen victim to, the sort of big dark cloud that all of us have been affected by, which is this pandemic, of course. And it's been tough, kind of just maneuvering through life, feeling so unsure and uneasy about things because we just don't know what the future holds exactly. These are certainly just very difficult times of uncertainty, and I've definitely not been immune to that. So yeah, it's been really hard, but just recently I've been able to pick myself back up and find the courage to keep on moving forward, because a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of you guys one-on-one in our calls together, a lot of you guys have had plans for the future, and because this pandemic happened, kind of all of our plans just went away with the wind. So we've kind of had to adjust to this new way of living, and at first I was very resistant to adjusting to this new way of living because it was kind of it felt like I was giving up or giving in to this situation. And I'm sure many of you that are watching, part of me, even including myself, believes that the higher powers, the powers that be, are planning just very evil things evil things to take away our rights, our God-given rights as humans. So it's been a very tough and difficult situation, but with talking to you guys, I felt like I wasn't alone in this, and I also felt like I could have the courage to talk about this in a video, because I've noticed many of us are dealing with, states of depression, states of anxiety. Things are coming up. In the beginning of the pandemic, all of us were people that had 9-to-5 jobs were all of a sudden living at home and dealing with our baggage, dealing with our trauma, dealing with our negative emotions that we very often just shoved to the side, or we overate, we numbed, we kind of shoved our emotions down, and everything was just coming to light, right? And I did notice as well that many of you guys, and this is beautiful, many of you guys took it upon yourselves to come to me to start working on your detox during this time, because you've had this free time, you've had this time to just focus on yourself and go into this contemplative state of awareness, which is excellent. So this pandemic has brought good things and also bad things, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to come here and tell you guys, this is really a lesson for all of us. You can think of it as a spiritual lesson in a sense. It doesn't matter what's happening outside of you, whether it's good things or bad things. This is really a lesson in being able to go within and become steady, become unmoved like a rock, So whatever happens, if the waves crash, right, you're still. You can come back to that stillness within you. And really, none of us can control what's happening on the outside, but what we can control is our outlook, our our feelings towards the situation and what we're going to do about it. So we don't always have to be perfect, but I'm sure many of you, you may have noticed that some of us seem to attract kind of the same lesson over and over and over again, the same situation over and over and over again, until we're able to learn from it, right? And so the universe is a little, it has a sense of humor. It wants to continuously test us. I've seen these sort of memes online where it's oh, you you're working on yourself, so let me give you like problems on top of your problems on top of your problems, right? So yeah, this whole year has just kind of felt like that, right? And I just wanted to, you know, I'm kind of rambling on, but I just wanted to let you guys know that you're not alone, and no matter what happens, you can always just turn within and just find that stillness inside of you and take up things like meditation and just being comfortable and feeling comfortable with your true self, no matter what emotions you are experiencing. Now, I'm not telling you guys to like ignore your emotions, because emotions are, they're kind of like your guidance system. So if you are feeling scared or angry about something or sad about something, that's your body telling you that there's something wrong, there's something that needs to happen, that you need to make a change in your life in order for you to feel centered and balanced again. So your emotions kind of work the same way as your physical body. So like in my videos, I tell you guys, okay, if you're feeling physical symptoms within your body, that means something's wrong, right? That means you have to make a change in your diet and your lifestyle in order to make corrective measures. So it's very, very similar with emotions. And now I kind of just wanted to tell you guys that I want this video to be about sort of like emotional detox symptoms, or how to handle your emotions, because I feel like many of you guys have requested this video for God knows how long, probably like for the past year, and I always, you know, I really deal with physical detox more so than emotional detox, but because I don't advertise it on my website, like I don't advertise, okay, I'm gonna help you with emotional detox symptoms, but I have found myself always helping you guys with your emotions. Sometimes our consultations are like, half of them are about how to deal with emotional detox symptoms, or how to heal your negative emotions, or how to find balance in your life, how to change your negative mindset into a positive mindset. And there have even been calls during this pandemic where it was like 80% of our call dealt with that subject. So, you know, even though I don't advertise it, I personally have been through, like, I've been dragged through the mud for, oh my God, for the longest time. I didn't really have the easiest teenage years, easiest young adult years, and even easiest years up until now, right? I guess, you know, my life has been filled with challenges in different ways, in like different ugly heads turning themselves to me, you know? So yeah, my life has definitely been full of growth, and I can speak to you guys from experience with how I was able to overcome these obstacles and overcome these challenges, especially with my emotions. But you know, since I feel like since I'm kind of like, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve, I'm kind of like very sensitive and very in tune with my emotions. I feel like many of you guys out there that enjoy watching my videos are kind of like on the same wavelength, you know? So that's why I feel very comfortable and very free to talk about these issues with you on our YouTube channel here. So definitely, like, let me know if you guys want me to come out with some sort of, I was thinking about trying to come out with some sort of digital product, like either a course or an ebook or something like that, that dives deep, you know, like really deep into helping you navigate your emotions, how to heal them, and also how to deal with them during detox. So let me know, you guys, if you're interested in something like that, then I'll get started on creating it, because, you know, if you guys aren't really interested in it, I want to, invest my time in creating something else that you guys may want. So that's what I've just really been curious is, like I know we have the transitional detox ebook on our website, and we have the one-on-one services, we have the juicing guide, we have like, the basic guide of like how raw foods heal the body for beginners. But I want to come out with things that you guys really want and really need. So let me know what sort of digital product you guys would like in the form of a course or an ebook or even a video series. So let me guys know in the comments down below. But yeah, so I want to just go ahead and now talk about the physical causes of negative emotions. So I've kind of discussed this throughout our videos in the past, kind of sprinkled throughout all the Q&A videos. But now, one that I've been seeing a lot is anxiety. Now, there can be physical root causes that cause these negative emotions, because really nothing is negative, everything is a lesson. But for the purpose of this video, I'll call it negative emotions. There's physical root causes, and there's also situational and environmental root causes. There can be root causes stemming from the past due to trauma. There can also be root causes of like just coming from not ever being taught how to deal with your emotions. So either you ignore them or you give in to them so much that the lesson isn't ever learned, right? So throughout this video, if time permitting, I'm going to discuss and go through each one. So let's first start off with the physical root causes of negative emotions. So if you have anxiety, you have to look. Do you have any other symptoms that deal with adrenal gland weakness? Adrenal weakness is what causes anxiety. And 9 out of 10 people have some sort of adrenal gland weakness. It's very, very rare for me to get a set of eyes and that I don't see an adrenal gland weakness. So it's that common. And many of us have a genetic adrenal gland weakness. So when you look at your eye, if you let's say take a photo of your eye, right? And you see a lesion, which in iridology, it's shown as like a dark line or a black line, or like essentially a dark line going down at 6 o'clock. So if you imagine your eye is a clock, right? So going right down at 6 o'clock, that's where your adrenal gland is. And that line, that dark line, indicates a weakness. Now, if it's stemming from, the circle that's like immediately around your pupil, that 1/3 from the pupil outwards, if it's stemming from that region, which by the way is the colon, then it's a genetic weakness, right? And if that lesion goes further down and down and down, well, that's like your kidney region, your leg region. So that's why people that have like, kidney issues, their kidneys hurt, or if they have major lymphatic issues, or if they have sciatica or restless leg syndrome, or anything to deal with like that lower region, always have adrenal gland problems, they always have adrenal gland issues, right? So that's how you can tell if your anxiety is coming from an adrenal gland weakness. Depending on how dark that lesion is, an acute lesion or acute weakness, it's very faint, very light colored in the eye, but you can see like a break in the fibers of the iris, so that indicates a weakness. Subacute gets a little darker, chronic is very dark, and degenerative is just pure black, a pure black lesion. And genetic, like we discussed, it would be coming from that center hub of the colon and going down and outwards. So other signs of adrenal gland weakness, and this is often the case that I see with people that have anxiety, is they'll have blood pressure issues. And now this isn't true for everyone, but it's true for most people, especially those with chronic adrenal gland weakness. They'll exhibit many symptoms. And the adrenal glands control a lot. They control a lot of aspects of the body. So we'll go into those right now. since they control blood pressure, people with adrenal gland weakness tend to have low blood pressure. If it's really bad, I've seen blood pressure even go as low as like 80 something or 90 something, right? Even low hundreds, that's considered low blood pressure. So you can check your blood pressure to see, and that would be a good indicator that you may have adrenal gland weakness. Now, the top number of your blood pressure should be around 120 to 130. So within that range is the healthy range. But if it's lower than that, that's indicating a health issue in your adrenal glands. Now, the bottom number should be between 60 to 70. Those would be your kidneys. Now, medical doctors say that 80 is healthy, but by that time you're already losing your kidney. So your bottom number should be between 60 to 70. So blood pressure issues. What accompanies low blood pressure? Low energy and fatigue. What also accompanies that is blood sugar issues. People with adrenal gland weakness, they tend to have experiences of needing to eat smaller meals throughout the day, or otherwise they'll feel blood sugar crashes. They'll feel dizzy or nauseous or faint if they don't consume meals within, like, let's say every 2 to 3 hours. And so if you're suffering from that issue, in order to transition into a raw diet, you need to have smaller meals more often, and that's perfectly fine. And this is kind of like why I say that people with adrenal gland weaknesses should not undergo fasting, or at least should not undergo long-term fasting. Small fasts here and there is okay, especially if you're starting out. By the way, I always recommend that you should be on a 100% raw diet for quite some time to get your system hydrated, to get your bowels moving, all those things before you attempt fasting. Because with fasting, you dig deeper into your body, then all the acids start to come out from in and around the cells, and then they'll start to purge. So it can be too much for beginners, for new people. So you always want to just clean and hydrate the body a little bit before going into fasting. But for those with adrenal weakness, you should really focus on starting off slow. One day of just a mono fruit fast, or 2 to 3 days of mono fruit fasting. And then once you have experience with that, then later on in the future, you can try like a week of mono fruit fasting. And by the way, mono fruit fasting is just when you pick one type of fruit and that's all you eat for every single meal. For those that are new here to this channel, that's what mono fruit fasting is. And I am more likely to recommend mono fruit fasting than I am juice fasting or dry fasting, because it is just a much safer way to clean and heal the body for most people, right? And there's always special circumstances, but that's when I would let you guys know in our consultations what sort of fast is right for you. Sometimes fasts, they can be appropriate in certain times during your detox. So you have to really be intelligent, intuitive, and use common sense of when you can implement fasting. And that's kind of like, I've had years of experience with this, and that's what I teach to all of you guys and to all of my clients. So that's kind of like the main symptoms of adrenal gland weakness. Now, other symptoms are inflammation. If you have any sort of pain within your body, and depending on the location of this pain, it can look differently, or it can be labeled as a different disease, right? So if you have arthritis, that's inflammation in the joints, right? If you have colitis, that's inflammation within the colon. Let's see. If you have any issues of like prostatitis, that's inflammation in the prostate. So any inflammation or even any pain, muscular pain, fibromyalgia, or lupus or Lyme's disease, that's an inflammatory condition. So other sort of symptoms that can indicate inflammation are edema, so water retention, holding onto water, or calcium deposits inside your body, or cholesterol plaquing, or high cholesterol levels in your blood. So all these are indicators of an adrenal gland weakness, because the adrenal glands are responsible for buffering acids, buffering inflammation, or the cause of inflammation, which is acidosis within the body, right? So if you have this adrenal gland weakness and your body's not able to combat these acids naturally, then what happens? The body starts to turn to other reserves like calcium and cholesterol and water in order to buffer the acidosis to protect your tissue immediately as like an emergency situation. This is why people that have pain issues or inflammation issues are given a prescription for steroid drugs or steroid shots because their adrenal glands aren't working. But that is the wrong way to go about healing the body. It's not healing the body, it's actually damaging the body in the long run. Whenever you give your body something, any hormone or steroid or anything that it should be producing on its own, that corresponding gland gets weaker in your body. And not to mention all the side effects that come from taking medications. So during the long run, you end up taking medications, more medications for the side effects that your previous medications caused you. And then before you know it, you have a long list of medications that you're taking. And it doesn't have to be that way, you know? You don't want to create this dependency on steroid medications or any medications at that, because then when you do, you're disempowering yourself and you are also creating a weaker and more toxic state within your body. And before you know it, doctors, they did not even have the answers to begin with. All they are taught is to prescribe these medications that don't address the root cause. So instead of giving you something to heal your adrenal glands, like let's say, okay, prescribe the right diet for your adrenal glands, right? A raw food diet to clean and heal and strengthen the adrenal gland tissues, to regenerate them. Instead of prescribing you or giving you or recommending herbs that can help heal your adrenal glands, like berries and ashwagandha, right? And kelp and a superfood blend and brain and nerve herbs. No, they don't do that. They'd rather get you hooked for life on their steroid medications or their medications, because what does that mean to them? It means bank. It means money for life. The medical system creates customers for life. So they want you right at that sweet spot. They don't want you dead yet. They don't want you healed. That means no money. They want you right in the middle where you are dependent on them for life. And even at the end, when your condition has worsened to a degenerative condition, such as kidney failure or such as cancer, they will still try and suck as much money as they can out of you. Because chemotherapy and radiation is very expensive. Ongoing dialysis is very expensive. So you see how the system is very vicious. And this is why I've started this channel. Like from the very beginning, I wanted to let you guys know, wanted to open your eyes. I wanted to empower you to be your own healer. It doesn't have to be this way, you know? Now, not everyone's going to be very open-minded to this information because we've been conditioned all of our lives to believe the opposite. But for those that truly believe that natural healing can heal you, natural healing can resolve your health issues, you take this information and go with it, run with it. You know, study even more and apply what you learn, and you will come out of your health issues. That's what I did when I had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. I was bedridden for years, had anxiety, had depression, had panic attacks. I had hundreds and hundreds of symptoms. Pretty much any sort of symptom that a human being can feel in their body, I felt that. Because that's kind of like what fibromyalgia causes, or very often autoimmune conditions cause that, is you to feel every symptom that's humanly possible. So, you know, if a person like myself or my clients that have healed from autoimmune conditions like fibro, lupus, Lyme's, you know, whatever you want to call it, if we can do that, you guys can too. So use our example as motivation, find your role models that have healed from their health conditions and use that as hope to drive you forward in healing your own. Okay, so those are the main symptoms of adrenal gland weakness, along with anxiety, fatigue, inflammation, blood sugar issues. Those are going to be the main ones. There's others like fungal type issues, because sugar metabolism creates fungal issues in the body if the sugar metabolism is weak. Breeds candida, breeds then cravings for starch or cravings for salt, because if you're feeling so fatigued, you're going to crave salt to kind of like stimulate your adrenal glands awake for you to even get by throughout the day. If you have so much fungus in your body, fungus craves starch, so potatoes, pasta, rice, processed foods, pizza, all that stuff, cakes, all those things, it's going to crave that so the fungus can stay alive in your body. But obviously those foods are detrimental. They're acidic foods, they're very dehydrating, they're mucus forming, and the body will continue to decay if you give into those foods, right? So I always recommend, if you have anxiety, start off with an adrenal formula. Or if, depending on your blood pressure, I would recommend an adrenal glandular, depending on the strength that you need, depending on what we see in your eyes when I analyze your eyes. So that's why it's very, very important to get your health and your case analyzed by a detox specialist and iridologist like myself, that has experience, that has the knowledge, that has seen hundreds of people heal with implementing the proper diet plan and herbal protocol specific to you. Because every single diet plan and herbal protocol will look different from person to person. So what you guys need to do is don't look at what someone else is doing and follow what they're doing. You need to get serious about your health issues. If you have chronic health issues, it's very hard to do it on your own. Trust me. People come to us all the time that have been trying to detox on their own for years now, and they haven't seen the results. They haven't seen them. But once they come to us, once they come to me, within that first month, they start to see miraculous results, because all it takes is, sometimes it takes just a little bit of tweaking of the herbs that you're taking, or sometimes it takes a tweaking in the diet, So it's better to get your health analyzed sooner rather than later. It will save you a lot of pain and time in the end, okay? So that's all about the adrenal glands, all about the adrenal. And you know what? I often tell people, if you have adrenal gland weakness, it's kind of like a gift and a curse at the same time, because people with adrenal gland weaknesses, they tend to be very empathic beings, artistic, creative, sensitive, very loving. They tend to be artists or very intelligent, When you have an adrenal gland weakness, it's kind of like you have that drive to do what you have to do, and you're very goal oriented. But over time, it's like there was an imbalance that caused you to go through adrenal burnout, essentially. So where detoxification comes in is you'll still be able to keep those gifts that I described, but you will walk in balance. You're not going to be either like super lazy and unmotivated, or super driven that you're not going to attend to your own needs. You know what I mean? So that's all about your adrenal glands, and that's how you're going to heal them, is being patient with yourself, loving towards yourself, finally, for the first time in your life, because you've been neglecting all your needs for far too long. What do you want to do in your life? Are you overworking yourself? Are you taking the time to prepare yourself nutritious meals? Are you taking the time to just breathe and take a break? Or are you taking the time to do the things that you love to do, right? Not what other people want to do, what you want to do. So people pleasing comes into the mixture as well. Are you spending all your time feeling anxious and worrying about what other people think because you want to just satisfy other people? You want them to like you? There's so many things that go into adrenal gland weakness. Something else that goes into adrenal weakness is trauma. Any type of trauma will shut down your adrenal glands. So, and I always tell people, no trauma is too big or too small, because it's dependent on the person and how they feel when they experience that trauma, how they're able to handle that situation. So it can be a big trauma, like a physical trauma, like let's say you fall down a flight of stairs, or you get into a car accident, or you get into some type of accident. It can be physical, or it can be emotional trauma, let's say childhood trauma from upbringing, maybe abusive parents, abusive family, or a family that neglected you, right? It can be that sort of trauma. Or it can be trauma within a relationship, an abusive relationship, whether that's emotional, mental, or sexual abuse. That can be trauma. It can be even a trauma that you may not think is trauma. Like let's say you had a falling out with a friend, right? Or an argument with someone you care about. Or this is a big one. Oftentimes people experience very like a huge shock to their adrenal glands when they experience the death of a loved one. That can even cause the adrenal glands to plummet and shut down. And what we often see is the people that come to me, if they've experienced these traumas, very soon after they start to come into health issues and health problems. Now, why is that? When we think about it, the adrenal glands are right on top of the kidneys. And the kidneys are like the main channels of elimination of the body. The kidneys focus on cleaning all of your cells, all of the trillions of cells in your body of waste. And these wastes are all around the cells, being bathed by the cells. These wastes are acidic, by the way. And these wastes are created by the cells in your body, because each unit, each cell is kind of like its own little micro version of a living being. All living beings have to consume nutrition, and they also excrete waste. So if this lymphatic system that stretches all throughout the body, all the lymph fluid that's bathing and surrounding the cells, outside of the cells, if those wastes are not eliminated by the pumping of the lymphatic system with astringent foods, with raw foods, with herbs, and if the kidneys are not able to eliminate these wastes through the lymph nodes, and the lymph vessels carrying the waste to the kidneys to be urinated out of the body, if that doesn't happen, then all these wastes start to rise up very quickly, by the way, very quickly. Even the simple act of living day to day creates waste in your body. So you could be following a perfect diet, a perfect 100% raw diet, but if your kidneys are not filtering, if you're not physically seeing the waste coming out through your urine, and those wastes are going to look like murky urine, cloudy urine, mucus strands or sediment of some form or flakes in your urine, that means you are gathering and piling up all these acidic factors in your body that are going to cause inflammation, the breakdown of tissue and disease conditions in your body, right? So, since the adrenal glands control kidney function and control the kidney's ability to filter, because they release neurotransmitters that control the kidneys, that relax them, the state of relaxation is what promotes the most healing and the most elimination of these wastes in the body. So relaxation is a very, very important part of your healing journey, of everyone's healing journey. So because someone faces this trauma, their adrenal glands shut down, all these wastes can pile up within a few days, causing you health issues and disease. So this is what we often see with adrenal gland weakness. I think this video is going to be too long, but adrenal gland weakness anxiety. We've spoken about trauma as well and how that shuts down the adrenal glands. So there's several methods of how to heal trauma. I personally just grabbed a book one day, having undergone a lot of traumatic experiences myself, but there's like one or two that stand out more than others. Specifically, an abusive relationship I had in my past, emotional, mental, sexual abuse in a relationship for several years. So once I got out of that situation, I knew I had past trauma that was preventing me from moving forward and being liberated and living freely, in my life. So what did I do? I just turned to books. Okay, I know that there's some books out there. This is what I told myself. I know that there's some books out there that can help me process this trauma and come out of it the other side. The book that I personally use, although it might be a little old, it was called The 21-Day Consciousness Cleanse. I think by the author Deborah Ford, if I'm not mistaken. The exercises in that book, they help you process traumas. And you guys can look, I'm pretty sure people have come out with other books on how to heal your trauma, past traumas, and there's probably a lot of books out there, but you can try this book or you can try another book. But essentially you want the book to have like very concrete steps in order for you to heal your trauma. So in this book, it was pretty much talking about, and it took you through the cycle, through the 21 days of how to process this, but there were essentially like physical rituals that you did, and there were also journal prompts that prompted you to heal and deal with the trauma and process it, right? And how you were going to move forward with that. So I highly recommend doing something like that if any of you out there are experiencing any sort of emotional issues due to trauma. And if you're very, very honest with yourself, if you don't turn to, like, let's say cook foods or junk foods or processed foods or foods to numb your emotions, and all you do is just sit with them and stay there for like 10 to 15 minutes, just sit there and stay there, you'll start to hear the inner dialogue in your head, and simply observe it and be the watcher is what I recommend. Be the watcher. So it's kind of like you're seeing yourself from an outside perspective, and you'll find, oh, I'm actually upset about this. I'm actually upset about this. What can I do then? What active changes can I make to fix this, the way I'm feeling, fix this part of my life, right? So, for instance, it can be like, maybe you're feeling angry because you really wanted or have been wanting to do something, but life, takes over. If you're in a relationship, that kind of like can be first priority, or maybe you're not able to stay focused on what it is that you want to do. And like, let's say it's been several days or weeks or months or even years that you've wanted to do this one thing, right? And now you're holding resentment or anger or sadness because of that. What does that mean? Does that mean that you are in the wrong? Does that mean that it's wrong for you to feel those emotions? No. It means that your inner guidance system is really telling you, hey, prioritize yourself for a change, right? Do what it is that you want to do. So that's one example, but our emotions are our friends, okay? So that's what I recommend for you guys. Don't turn to cooked foods. Don't turn to processed foods that are actually going to make you feel worse in the long run, right? So that's like the last thing you want to do. There's like cycles, right? And you'll notice this, especially with people that come to me that have like emotional eating or binging states. Notice, when is it that you tend to crave these bad foods or these processed foods? Is it when you're feeling great and happy? Oftentimes, no. Oftentimes when we feel really happy and joyful, we don't really feel the need to partake in harmful foods. It's oftentimes when we're feeling low, when depressed and sad or angry, and we've never been taught how to deal with these negative emotions. So we try to stuff them down because we're scared of them. But I'm gonna ask you guys, sit with your emotions, journal them out, channel, or use this negative emotion for something positive, right? So in a creative way, journaling or sitting there and trying to understand and become curious. Where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Okay, ask yourself these questions, and then once you find out where it's coming from, ask yourself, okay, what can I do moving forward? Okay, so that's kind of like what you want to do when you're experiencing negative emotions, and this is especially useful when it comes to detox. Detox is actually a fantastic catalyst and opportunity for us to heal our negative emotions, because you've finally gotten rid of the long-term crutch that you've been using at stuffing your emotions down. So that's why so many of us experience emotional detox symptoms, because detox shines the spotlight on our demons we're hiding in the closet, right? On our skeletons that we're hiding in the closet, on our shadow self. It shines a light on there, and there's like nowhere to run, right? So that's what I want you guys to realize is emotional detox symptoms happen for a lot of people. And it doesn't mean that you're going crazy. It doesn't mean that you're not strong. It actually means the opposite, that you actually have the courage to finally sit with all this stuff and overcome it. Okay? So yeah, so pretty much that's kind of like we discussed a lot of things already in this video, but for this next part of the video, I want to talk a little bit about depression. So for this next part of the video, I want to talk about depression. Now, if you've noticed, depression and anxiety can oftentimes go hand in hand, because when you are feeling anxious and you're in that vicious cycle, what can happen is that anxiety can really start to rule your life, where you're not able to accomplish your goals or your dreams, or you're not able to live the life that you truly want to live. So what happens is depression, states of depression, can stem from just having anxiety that's ruling your life. Depression can come from several other things too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's really important, is I've found depression to come from, if we're really honest with ourselves, it comes from a state of hopelessness about the future. People that are depressed tend to not have any hope for the future. So it's as if the future has been robbed from them and taken away from them. Everything that they hope and dreamed of, their aspirations, and to where they believe it's no longer possible. They no longer have anything to look forward to. This is the true state of depression. If you ask someone that's depressed and we get to that underlying root cause of how they're feeling, that's going to be the number one thing from an emotional standpoint and a psychological standpoint, okay? But the physical root cause of depression is a weakness in the parathyroid glands in the body, or the chain of command can also rule the parathyroid glands, because if you have a pituitary gland weakness, that pituitary gland controls the parathyroid glands in the body. Or if you have a hypothalamus gland weakness, that can control the pituitary gland, and the pituitary controls the parathyroid glands. But this is where iridology comes into play. So if you look at your eyes and you see a weakness, the parathyroids, they lie around, like, let's say around 3 o'clock in the iris. And that's where the thyroids are as well. So if you see a lacuna, like a hole or a break in the fibers, or a lesion, which is like that black line that we discussed earlier, around 3 o'clock, stemming out of that hub, that colon, which is 1/3 out of the way of the pupil. That's where the parathyroid glands are. And that's where the thyroid gland is. So parathyroid and thyroid glands deal with the utilization of calcium. So the parathyroid glands deal with parathormone, that helps you utilize calcium. The thyroid gland deals with calcitonin. Calcitonin helps you utilize calcium. So it's very common, if you have one of those gland weaknesses, you'll have the other. Calcium helps to regulate our emotions. Calcium also helps to regulate our structure in our body. So bone, connective tissue, teeth, the nervous system is ruled by calcium. Even like heart, like the pumping of the heart is ruled by calcium. So calcium is a very essential alkaline element in the body. If your parathyroid glands or your glands that I mentioned before are weak, you can start to exhibit calcium utilization issue type symptoms, right? So low calcium in your body type symptoms. And what do those look like? There's various symptoms. It can look like depression, like we discussed before. It can look like prolapsing of organs, so like sagging of organs, uterine prolapse, perhaps, or colon prolapse, vaginal prolapse. These things are very common. It can also show hemorrhoids or hernias, the weakening of connective tissue in that way. So either internal hemorrhoids, external hemorrhoids, inguinal hernias, all these types of symptoms where it shows the weakening of the connective tissue that holds organs in place, that holds everything together. That's what calcium does, is it holds everything in place. It can also show signs of dental decay or dental weakness. People that have a lot of cavities or teeth sensitivities, or removal of teeth, root canals, anything like that, translucent teeth, anything like that, calcium related issues. Because if your mouth is very acidic, it's going to start to leach calcium to buffer the acids. And if your parathyroid glands are weak, it's not able to replace that calcium that has been lost. Okay? So, what else? Cracking of joints, weakening of joints can cause that. Bruising very easily. If you're constantly seeing bruises or areas of your body that just can't heal or don't heal, your body has problems utilizing calcium to heal, right? So that's why every time someone undergoes like some sort of, like if they break their arm or break their leg or get into an accident or some sort of physical trauma, it's very important for you to focus on your calcium utilization in order to heal your body and heal that tissue weakness, to repair and regenerate itself, right? So these are some signs of calcium utilization issues, and oftentimes people that are exhibiting these symptoms often have depression as, stemming from a physical root cause that they can have depression. But like I said before, depression can also come from emotions and your mind, your mindset, right? Going back actually to another physical root cause of depression is the animation of life region, which by the way in the iris is found at 12 o'clock. So if you have a lesion or a break in the fibers going straight up at 12 o'clock in your iris, that's the hypothalamus gland. The hypothalamus gland in that region, what I've seen is people that have a weakness in that region, they tend to lack motivation, lack drive, be very sluggish, need like 10, 12 hours of sleep. But even then, when they get 10 to 12 hours of sleep, they still wake up feeling so unrested, as if they didn't get any sleep at all. So you kind of see how these sort of symptoms mimic the symptoms of depression, but it's not really true depression when you have a weakness there. True depression comes from the calcium utilization. But, you know, that's not to say that those symptoms are not debilitating. So in that case, you would address the hypothalamus gland by taking a hypothalamus glandular, if appropriate. And also brain and nerve tincture and upper circulation tincture would be fantastic as well. Okay, so all these formulas, I'm recommending them in this video, but really you need to use them at the appropriate time. So for instance, when it comes to glandulars, most of the time, especially in the upper head region, I will recommend start to heal and drain the lymphatic system within the brain first, maybe the first month, before incorporating something like the upper circulation formula, for instance, right? Brain and nerve is okay the first month or the second month and onward, but for the upper circulation formula, I tend to see that people work better with it when it's recommended the second month instead of the first month, because then you can get like headaches and too much pressure. So it's always important to focus on cleaning your body first. Cleaning, just focusing on kidneys, lymph, you know, maybe some herbal formulas for your glands to help turn on kidney filtration, but really focus on that, and then focus on strengthening. Okay, so like then glandulars and more specific gland tissue formulas. Okay, so that's like generally what the rule is. But yeah, those are going to be the formulas that I recommend for the hypothalamus gland. Now, the formulas that I recommend to physically help clean and heal and strengthen your thyroid and your parathyroid glands, the 3-lung tincture is fantastic at decongesting, because congestion can also cause thyroid, parathyroid type symptoms of calcium related issues like depression and everything that we discussed before. So if you see in your eye in that 3 o'clock, between 2 to 3 o'clock region where it's very congested, or like you can almost like see like you have a wad of mucus in that eye, like whether it's blue or brown, you know, the different shades can show you with iridology if that area is congested. I like to decongest that area first and foremost with the 3-lung tincture. 3-lung tincture is so powerful because the 3-lung tincture gets rid of any hardened masses in the body or any area of stagnation in the body, lymphatic stagnation, especially chronic lymphatic stagnation. It gets rid of any like lymph node swelling. It also decongests certain areas of mucus, especially within the mucosa. So I really like to start off protocols with the 3-lung tincture to make sure that you're decongesting the head, the neck, the lungs, the sinuses, all these areas before you start to strengthen them with like glandulars or certain gland formulas. Because if you have a congestion in any of these areas, you may have already started to form like little tumors or things like that, right? So it's better to decongest these areas before promoting activity. And if you are having symptoms of depression simply from just congestion, because mucus or lymphatic stagnation or congestion can create hypo conditions. You can have hypothyroidism just because you have too much mucus in your thyroid, in your throat region. You know, I've seen that before. So might as well decongest the area, clean it out first before strengthening it. But, you know, if you have an actual weakness or a genetic weakness as seen in your iris through iridology, then taking something like the parathyroid formula or the thyroid formula, or if you have a pituitary weakness, the pituitary formula, or if you have the hypothalamus weakness, hypothalamus formula, those are going to be very important. Along with some sort of naturally occurring form of calcium. So what herbs or what foods are naturally rich in calcium? It's going to be things like horsetail, very high in calcium. Kelp is also very high in calcium. Even something like orange juice is very high in calcium as well. The superfood blend number 2 is very high in calcium, so I recommend that. But essentially you're going to want to go after like certain herbs that are high in calcium, and sometimes leafy greens, things like dandelion or spinach, or you know, things like that are high in calcium as well. But you always have to remember, even if you feed the body calcium, if you're not cleaning and strengthening these glands, you're not going to heal your condition. You have to do both. But what's even more important is the cleaning and strengthening of gland and tissue weakness, even before supplementing with nutrition. Now, never take a man-made form of calcium. Do not take an isolated calcium supplement that will create imbalance in your body and will create calcifications. So never take that, but do take naturally occurring form of calcium found in real foods. You know, real foods that are perfectly balanced with all their micronutrients. That way your body can recognize it and not start to create this imbalance and not start to leach or deposit all these different elements between your bones and joints and tissue, right? Because that's what happens when people go that route. So you see, a lot of this information is the opposite of everything that we've been taught. But if you look around, that's the reason why everyone is so ill and sick these days. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's see what else we can talk about when it comes to depression. There's many detox tools. That's what I'll talk about. There's many detox tools that you can use to combat depression. I've noticed that there's certain essential oils that help out with that. So things like lavender essential oil can help. Things like lemon or citrus can really help, especially drinking or eating citrus. It just brings joy into your cells. You can feel like the manifestation of the sun going into the cells of your body. That can help with depression. Going outside and getting proper sunlight and proper oxygen, and even being surrounded in nature, can help relieve symptoms of depression. But really there's a lot of moving parts. So you have to implement all these different things, and what rings true to you. Use your intuition, right? Or what I would recommend is working with me one-on-one, you know, with the Master Your Health package, where we break down everything. I look at your case, I look at your health history, look at the weaknesses and signs that we see in your eyes through an iridology reading. I'm putting together in place the proper diet plan and herb protocol and detox tools specific to you, so you can heal these emotional issues within your body, you know, from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, and from a mental standpoint, right? If I were to discuss everything in this video, I think it would be like 10 hours long. So I'm not going to do that. But just know that there are things like that, like detox tools that you can also incorporate. That's why I really want to create like some sort of digital product that will help you guys heal from your emotions and how to process them. So do let me know again in the comment section down below if that's something that you would be interested, or if it isn't, please let me know what sort of digital product you would like from me. Like what is that you really need help with in your healing journey. Any sort of area that I can help fill the gap in and help assist you. So let me know. But anyways, I already have like so many, I have so many, how do you call it, like methods of implementation that I mentioned during our detox calls one-on-one. And these sort of methods I would love to incorporate like in some sort of like course or ebook. So let me know, guys. Like I said, it's a bit too long to discuss in this video, but I have included some of them dispersed throughout the video. So, you know, I really want to make another physical detox symptom video in the future, maybe another emotional detox symptom video, and also a Q&A video. I think that one is long overdue. So let me know, you guys. Leave all of your questions down below. I'm going to pick out the questions that I haven't discussed on this channel in particular, people's questions that haven't been answered yet. I'll be picking those out from this video and answering them in the next Q&A. So leave all your questions and comments down below and I'll address them in the next video. And yeah guys, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, I highly recommend the Master Your Health Detox package that's found on our website at www.spiritropicalhealing.com. In that package you get everything. You get your eyes analyzed, your health history analyzed, a one-on-one consultation with me where we discuss everything. I break everything down, answer all your questions, all your burning questions, and get a plan in place that will help you heal from all your health issues, both physical, emotional, and mental, and even spiritual, And it will come with a diet plan and herbal protocol, as well as specific detox tools and instructions on how to use them. So all this comes into place to create the perfect healing protocol that's strong enough to heal even the most chronic and degenerative health issues. Okay, so yeah guys, I enjoyed my time with you here today. I'm going to get recording on more content soon for you guys, and I really hope that all of you are just keeping the faith, even though times look really dark right now. Just always trust that, your spirit inside is unshakable, untouchable, okay? So even though bad stuff may be happening around you, inside, you're 100% safe, okay? And like I said, your outlook on situations can affect your reality. So no matter what's happening, you can always see things as the cup half full instead of half empty. And, always see there's always opportunities amidst the challenges, okay? So that's kind of like where the mindset and mentality shift is in people that are happy, or successful, and people that let their negative emotions derail them or sabotage them. So you have the power within you to change your life, okay? And I'll be here rooting for you and helping you every step of the way. Okay, so take care guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season as well. So I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.